Hello beautiful people, today is 24th of August. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now guys, before going into the newspaper analysis, let's have a look onto the today's GS Fodder. So in today's GS Fodder, we'll take a quote from the Gloria Steinem. Now, Gloria Steinem is an American journalist and an American feminist. She talks about the gender discrimination into the society and says that a gender equal society would be one where the word gender does not exist, where everyone can be themselves. Now friends, there are two words, one is gender and other is sex. Now sex is a biological differentiation between the male and the female, whereas the gender is the sociological differentiation which has been imposed and has been sustained by the stereotypes, prejudices and the notions of patriarchy. So the problem into the society with respect to the gender discrimination is the existence of the word gender itself, because the notion is based onto the discrimination. So to truly make a gender neutral society is to discard the word gender from its meaning itself. So guys, this is the quote. You can use it into the GS paper number 1, where into the issues of the society, gender discrimination, as well as GS paper number 2, social justice. So that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now guys, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper first. Now here you can see that the rising number of cases have been mentioned, however not relevant for our exam as these numbers will change. Then guys, moving forward, on first page we can see that nothing relevant news has been given. Now here the flooding into the Gurgaon has been mentioned. However guys, the city specific coverage is not important, but on 21st of June at this particular timestamp I had explained the entire concept of urban flooding and the way forward, such as the city sponge concept, G-cans, etc. have been mentioned. So guys, please do look at for disaster management. Then moving forward, so the regional news not that much important for our exam. Now guys, here the Odisha government's initiative for farmers have been given. So guys, very important, and as a case study we can use it into our answers. Then moving forward, now here you can see that the Balaghat example of the women have been given. Now guys, with this article we'll see the concept of the ecofeminism, etc., which could be utilized as a reference into your answers, will give much authenticity. Then we are into the editorial page. Now, this particular editorial talks about the fire into the Srisailam hydropower plant, and in that particular respect, we'll see the entire broader picture with respect to India. Now, guys, this particular article talks about the ongoing dispute going on in Nepal, but friends, 8 to 10 times we had already discussed this. Same thing has been provided, not even a single new dimension has been given. Then guys, this article talks about the India's food insecurity, and in that particular respect, the data from the SOFI report has been given. We'll utilize it for GS2 as well as GS3. Then guys, this article talks about the vulnerabilities that women are facing during the time of the pandemic, and the concept of the shadow pandemic will be seen here. Then guys, moving forward, this article talks about Russia jumping into the vaccine race and all that kind of issues. Then guys, this article is about that how the Congress party is facing the crisis and some good president is needed, not important for our exam. Then guys, moving forward, all the regional news has been came here, not relevant for our paper. You can see the political news not relevant. Now guys, here the Chinese dilemma will see, and we'll see that how actually China's dependence or interdependence might not be that easily to be solved. So Chinese decoupling, is it possible or not? We'll see this thing. Then guys, moving forward, you can see the education plus, however UPSC relevant articles have not been given. Then showcase page, not important for our exam. After that guys, the world page, you can see that only the US election, etc. has been mentioned, not at all important. And friends, today you know that the business page doesn't comes, so it is about the investing advice and all that kind of thing. So that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now friends, taking up the first news, so it pertains to a wonderful initiative that has been taken by the Odisha government. So guys, if we talk about the agriculture sector in Indian economy, it is a very important pillar, because till now 56% population directly as well as indirectly is involved into the agriculture sector. Now guys, agriculture sector happens to be an important topic for our UPSC exam also. So see, into the agriculture, only three type of questions into the entire UPSC can be asked. One are the questions with respect to the reforms on economic viability of agriculture. We know that the agriculture sector has gone to a level where it is not economically viable, and in this particular direction, even government had decided that by 2024 the farmers' income will be doubled. Now guys, earlier this date was 2022, but now it has been extended. So if you remember, few days back, government announced large number of ordinances. For example, ordinance for the amendment of the Essential Commodities Act to facilitate the contract farming, as well as for the APMC reforms, that is the Agriculture Produce Market Committee reforms, by which now farmer will be allowed that he can sell his produce anywhere, not particularly into the region where he is living. So all these things will make agriculture economically more viable. So on this dimension number 1, any question can be asked, and that will be into the GS paper number 3. Other dimension will be with respect to the welfare of the farmers. Now guys, you might have heard that the farmers are committing large number of suicides. People are abandoning the agriculture. So welfare is needed to be taken, and this particular theme will be asked into the GS paper number 2, vulnerable sections of society. And in this particular direction, government had came out with large number of schemes. For example, PM Kisan. Now this is to support the farmer, where 6,000 rupees every year will be given. Then there are the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, in order to reduce the miseries caused by the crop failure and loss, all these kind of things. And third type of question or third dimension will be the structural problems into the agriculture sector. Structural problems are like the inefficiency of our agriculture sector, unsustainability of our agriculture sector, biasness of our agriculture sector towards a few handful of crops. Our agriculture has turned cereal centric. All these structural problems. So guys, wording might be anything, but it boils down to only three type of questions, and these type of question could be asked into the GS1 as well as into the GS3. So all your agriculture notes should be diverted in this particular format. Now guys, coming to the present news. So what has happened right now? Odisha government, under its 5T governance system. Now this 5T governance system can be quoted as a case study in all the governance related question. So under this 5T governance system, Odisha government is bringing certain sector factors together in order to give a better service to the citizen. It is bringing together teamwork, technology, transparency, time leading to transformation. And under this, now the government is making an app where the farmer can upload the picture of his grievance, and into the real time basis, at as urgent as possible, that grievance will be resolved. In this particular application, the concept of geofencing will be utilized. So geofencing is that from wherever the picture will be received, that location, that area will be mapped. So into that region, whosoever will be the authority, that authority will be given the grievance, and they will reach the farmer and will solve the crisis. What crisis? Crisis such as non-availability of water into the canals, problems such as non-availability of the quality seeds which government gives to the farmer onto the subsidized prices. All these things will be resolved into this particular direction. Now guys, this particular thing will be helpful in bringing a large number of welfare for the farmers. So second type of dimension it will be covering. So that's it guys, excellently into the case study you can utilize it. And now we'll move to the next. Now guys, next news is a wonderful example of the ecofeminism. Now what is this ecofeminism? I will explain you this thing. Now guys, see what has happened here. Certain women into the Balaghat region of Madhya Pradesh are protesting against the cutting of the trees, and they are now guarding a land and had brought back the land into the foliage. Now there are more number of trees which are growing here. Now guys, this could be an example of the leadership among the women. If you remember, in 1970s there was the Chipko movement, which was started in the present Uttarakhand, where women protected the forest. And onto the lines of Chipko movement, world around the countries, a large number of countries have seen such kind of reforms, and now you can call it as a Chipko 2.0, where women are again guarding their forest. Now guys, into the Chipko movement, the principle of non-violent protest was adopted, as well as a satyagraha were adopted. The women, they were strictly hugging the trees, or they were strictly sticking around the trees, so that nobody can cut the trees, but they didn't use the violence here, and the same thing is being done here also. Now guys, this particular thing points towards the environmentalism. What is this environmentalism? So environmentalism means the increased consciousness among the communities regarding the importance of the environment, and this is the most important thing if we want to reach the environment conservation. Now guys, we know that the climate change is real, and even into the Paris climate summit, we have taken a pledge to reduce our emission to 33 to 35%, and how that will be reduced? By enhancing the carbon sink. Carbon sink means enhancing the trees who can absorb the carbon. So in that particular direction also, these environmentalism, these tendencies are very useful, and this thing has been depicted by the women here. Now guys, onto the lines of Chipko movement, this Balaghat movement is going on, and before the Chipko movement in 1730, there was the Prasanna village movement into the Rajasthan, where the Bishnoi communities safeguarded, they gave their lives to save certain khejri trees. So all these examples can be quoted into the environmental consciousness. This particular example can be quoted into the women's leadership qualities. Now guys, coming to the ecofeminism. What is this ecofeminism? It says that there is a two-way relation between the ecology and the women. So women's better conditions are dependent onto the ecology or environment, because environment provides them a large number of resources. So guys, this is the concept of the ecofeminism, and this particular thing is seen here, where women, in order to safeguard their well-being, are safeguarding the forest. So this is all about this particular thing. Can be used in essay, also can be used into the GS paper number 3, environmental conservation or environmentalism. So that's it friends. Now we'll move to next. Now guys, we are into the editorial section, and this first editorial talks about the recent fire incident that occurred into the Srisailam hydropower plant. Now guys, first of all, some prelims related fact. So this Srisailam hydropower project, it is located onto the Krishna river. Moreover, one more fact, onto the Krishna river, Pattisima lift irrigation project is also located. This is a project which will be connecting two rivers, that is the Godavari as well as Krishna river. So excess water could be diverted, so that flood management could be effective, water requirements could be met. This is the first such lift irrigation. Lift irrigation means that by the motors the water will be lifted, so it is located here. Onto the Krishna, the Srisailam hydropower project is located, and it is the major supplier of electricity to both Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana. And now, as the fire incident has taken place here, it is showing a trend that is going in India, that is the weak industrial safety, weak industrial safeguards. If you remember, into the May, there was an incident where a fire broke into the LG polymers in Visakhapatnam. After that, there was a boiler blast into the Tamil Nadu. Now the Srisailam is there, and in between also there have been large number of incidents. Moreover, here if I quote a report, that is the Industrial report, it says that between 2014 to 2017, 6,300 people have died in 8,004 accidents that have taken at the workplace. So it highlights that how dangerous our industrial settings, our workplace are. Now guys, moving forward, this particular accident occurred because of a short circuit, and such kind of reason was also there into the Sayano hydropower project which is in Russia. It occurred in 2009 and it is the biggest disaster into the hydropower plants. This particular incident resembles to the incident of the Russia. It could have been even more catastrophic. Now guys, into this particular line, a large number of issues and challenges come with respect to the safety of the hydropower projects in India. We'll see all these issues which have been there. Now, first of all, the first issue or the challenge is that these hydropower projects, they are built below the surface level. Okay, and all the critical equipment such as the generation equipment, control equipment, they are placed below the land surface. And because of this particular thing, the proper ventilation, fire control, etc. is many a times also not effective here. So therefore, if any fire broke out into these hydropower projects, it becomes very difficult to control. But government has not issued any detailed guideline on this particular thing. Now guys, not only hydropower plants are unsafe, but also large number of underground coal mines. For example, in Jharkhand, there are large number of coal mines which are underground. They also face such kind of problem. And if steps are not taken, there could also be such kind of accident. So this is challenge number 1. Now, talking about the challenge number 2. Now guys, I am giving you one outside reference here. See, according to the South Asia Network on Dam, River and People, that is the SENDERP. According to this organization, till now, there is no credible report onto the fire disaster at hydel power projects. No report till now. And if there is no report, simply we can't learn. We can't follow a SOP. We can't have a process that by this particular way we can do this thing. So it shows the unseriousness with respect to this particular issue. Then guys, third issue is that, see, there is Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer Standard Association. It has laid certain standards. For example, into such kind of situation, there needs to be a portable ventilation system as well as fixed ventilation. Now, as I told you that they are made below the ground level, you need to have the portable ventilators. Then you need to use the fire retardant materials into the construction so that the fire related incidents, if they occur, the misery, the damage could be reduced. After that, there need to be the dual exits, easy escape routes so that if incident occurs, people can escape. Now into this particular incident, more than 9 people died. So guys, a question is raised whether IEEE's standards have ever been accepted into the hydel power plants in India or not. No information, credible information has been provided here. Then guys, one more extra reference, not only particularly to the hydel power, but if we talk about this particular hydel project, then according to the National Committee on Dam Safety in 2019, the committee had said that there are even problems of structural integrity. The structure of the dam itself is also not stable. But till now, no credible step into this particular direction have also been taken. So guys, you know that hydel power is a major constituent of the energy mix in India. Renewable energy comes from this, but still government has not taken any credible step which can safeguard these projects. And you know the quantum of water that they are holding into their reservoir, if any problem comes, the catastrophes could be even more bigger. So guys, into the disaster management GS paper number 3, all such dimensions, please keep it in your mind. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next. Now guys, the next topic is with respect to the women issues. So guys, first of all, into your GS paper number 2, if a question onto the impact of a pandemic on women, if it comes, I will give you a reference. Use the speech of the Fumzile Mlambo. Now, Fumzile Mlambo is an executive director of the UN Women, and she had described a shadow pandemic phenomena which is going on. It means that women are suffering doubly under the pandemic. First of all, we'll not go into the article. What are the reasons by which the women are suffering during the pandemic? Number 1, They are facing much more domestic abuse, because earlier there was a kind of a way where if the family member who is committing the domestic abuse, he would have went away, but now due to the lockdown that thing has increased. Then increased drudgery. This, what does this word means? It means that now the pressure of menial jobs, the pressure of other jobs have increased. For example, if a woman is working, she needs to work even more harder. She needs to work for his office. She also needs to meet the responsibilities of the house care at the same time. Moreover, if she was not a working woman, even into the home, the work has enhanced because every member is involved into the work. So drudgery has increased. Then women are now facing the depression because the kind of opportunity to vent out the grievance are now limited. Then economic miseries are there because this particular lockdown has brought the kind of a loss of employment, loss of kind of economic viability for everybody. Then the major one is the inaccessibility of the reproductive services. What type of inaccessibilities? Inaccessibility with respect to the abortion, inaccessibility with respect to the contraceptives, and it is nothing but the denial of the women's reproductive rights. Just recently a report has been published by the Mary Stops International, and according to this particular report, nearly 2 million women into the world have missed the contraceptive or the abortion services, reproductive services, and out of those 2 million, 1.3 million are in India. And even according to the UNFPA, the lockdown, if it extends 6 months, then it has been said that 47 million women from 114 low and middle income countries, these women will not be able to access the contraceptives. And because of this particular thing, there will be the 7 million unintended pregnancies. And this particular thing will be a drag onto the economic resources, will even be a kind of a catastrophe which can trick the population bomb. Now guys, moving forward. Now if we talk about in India, why the reproductive services have been denied to the women. Reason number one in this particular direction is that during the time of the pandemic, large number of healthcare resources, they were diverted to the present crisis for the testing, for treatment, and therefore the resources for the women's reproductive health were very much less. After that, due to the disruption into the transport, the women were not able to go and to access all these things. Thirdly, see what happened. Large number of activities were not allowed into the lockdown. Though abortion, health facilities were exempted, but women were not knowing that they were exempted and they were under an impression that they are also closed. Then what happens? See, even if they went there, into the medical shops, the abortion pills, etc., they were not available. Why? Because the supply chain was broken because of the non-movement of the transport. Is it clear? So the trucks which were bringing the supplies, they were not able to run smoothly. After that, the next reason is this, that what happens, even if everything was there, hospitals themselves were also not operating. Why they were not operating? Because they were scared that if anyone comes with the infection, they might be also suffering. So because of these things, we might now be seeing such large number of pregnancies. So guys, this is the high time that the government should take some steps into this particular direction. Now what steps government can take here? So here it has been said that the government should promote the telemedicine, so that without going out, without breaking the social distancing, the women can access the medical services. After that, it has been said that incentives should be given to the local clinics so that they can open up and can accommodate the women who are in need of such services. After that, as early as possible the entire supply chain which has been broken. That supply chain needs to be restored, and finally some abortion and contraceptive counseling should be started so that women can receive the genuine advice and all the following procedures by they under some supervision they can follow. So guys, if we don't want to enhance the shadow pandemic further, such reproductive rights of the women are needed to be taken care of. So into the GS paper number 2, women issues, a direct question can also be asked on to such line. So that's it. Use the reference of the Mary Stopes International. And now we'll move to next. Now friends, this particular article provides certain insights with respect to the food insecurity and hunger in India. In GS paper number 2, the concept of hunger has been mentioned, as well as in GS paper number 3, food management has been mentioned. So there such thing could be important. Now friends, first of all, some basics. Into this particular report, the reference of the SOFI has been given, that is the state of food security and nutrition into the world. Now guys, this particular report's 2020 version has been released. First of all, the agencies who are involved into the release of such report, so they are Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. It is IFAD, that is the International Fund for Agricultural Development. After that there is a UNICEF, WFP, that is the World Food Program, and the WHO. Now, since 2017, such a report is being released. Now, this is the 2020 version. Now, guys, some important observations first, which could be utilized as a reference and will give much authenticity to your answers. Now, according to the SOFI report, global prevalence of hunger in 2019 was 8.9%. It means these many people are sleeping hungry. After that, food insecurity in India has increased since 2014, and right now, from 2014 to 2020, 3.8 percentage point increase has been seen. So in last 6 years, such increment has been there. Now guys, this particular report relies on two kind of parameters to provide that what food insecurity is there. First is the prevalence of undernourishment. Now, prevalence of undernourishment, it means the chronic deficiency of calorie. Suppose I need to acquire 2200 calories in a day to function properly, but I am able to acquire only 100 calorie, 200 calories. So chronic calorie deficiency, it is seen by the prevalence of undernourishment parameter. The second parameter which this report uses is the prevalence of moderate and severe food insecurity. Now, PMFI, it sees whether a person is available to diversify his food intake, whether he is getting the nutritious food or not. Simply having the calories is not important, but from which sources you are receiving that calorie, is that source diversified, that thing also needs to be seen. So on these two parameters, the entire state of food security or insecurity is seen by this particular report. Now guys, prevalence of undernourishment, that is the first parameter. This particular parameter is taken care onto the basis of the National Survey of Consumption. Every country releases their National Survey of Consumption, but most of the time such thing is outdated, not regularly revised. So therefore, the second parameter, that is the PMFI, it becomes even more important. Now into such kind of parameter, what happens? It is released. Here we might not need the government's report, but what we can see, we see the behavior of the people with respect to their nutrition, whether they are skipping any meal in a day, whether they are eating the same kind of food always, because food diversification is also necessary. So on all these behavior, we actually try to bring out the food insecurity. Now guys, this particular approach uses the Food Insecurity Expenditure Scale, FIES, which has been made by the FAO. Now, in India also, this particular PMFI is important. Now guys, but there are certain problems. Problem number one, to bring out such data, either country needs to provide some data here, or FAO himself itself also conducts certain studies and can bring out certain data. But what is the problem in India? Neither India allows FAO to conduct the study onto the PMFI, nor it releases itself the data which could be used for the PMFI. So these are the problems here. Therefore, simply, even if the hunger is being told and even if it is severe, there is a possibility that then also it is being shown into an underrepresented manner because simply the data is not being given. Now guys, it has been said that even if country doesn't give, still it is possible to find out the prevalence of the food insecurity. How? By seeing the trends going on into the South Asian countries, other countries. On that basis we can tell this particular thing. And on to that particular thing, it has been said that 22% of global burden of food insecurity is from India. It means 22% of food insecure people of the world are from India. So it shows the prevalence of such a problem in our country. Now guys, not only government is not providing these two datas, but also government had till now not released the NSSO's consumption expenditure survey of 2017-18, which also provides certain insights with respect to the food insecurity in India. So in all these parameters, it has been said that India is neither giving up the information nor taking up the active reforms. Now, if we talk about the present reasons why the food insecurity has increased considerably from 2014. The pandemic has struck in 2020, but since that the food insecurity is increasing. So the SOFI reports provides that present crisis is because of lockdown. Then even the reforms such as the GST and demonetization had impacted the informal sector and people had suffered the economic crisis. Then agrarian crisis since 6-7 years is in distress, and then no investment is being made across the sectors. In manufacturing sector, in infrastructure sector, investment has not been there so that people can be absorbed there, they can get employment, and by that employment they can raise their expenditure onto the demand of better quality food grains. Even if you know, we had seen few days back the SOFI report, and there we had seen that a nutritious and healthy diet, it costs more than 114 rupees. Is it clear? So even guys, if we see present poverty line of India, such a poverty line right now, it is, we broadly accept the Tendulkar poverty line. It says that the people who are earning, there are different from rural areas, it is different, for urban areas it is different, but if a person is earning more than 32 rupees in a day, he is not poor. But even to afford the better food, you need more than 100 rupees. Are you getting it or not? And even if we consider that the entire money is being spent onto the food, then also the person earning 33 rupees is not poor, but he can't eat the food. So food insecurity is very much grave in India. Government not bringing the data, not bringing the reform. So in this particular direction, if we want to conserve our demographic dividend, much needed dimension or reforms in this dimension are needed. Now guys, the data from the SOFI, these 4-5 data which I have given you, please utilize it into your answer to make it more specific, to make it look more authentic. So that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next news. Now guys, this particular article is with respect to the Russia's development of the vaccine, that is the Sputnik 5. Now guys, already this entire article from the dimension of Russia, how China is also making such kind of drug and giving it to the PLA, to the healthcare workers we had taken. I had also talked that the dimension, if it comes into India, how it will be allowed. All these things we had seen already on to the 12th August at this particular time stamp. You can watch it. I will advise not to go too much into this particular thing, because by the time you will write your exam into the December or January, when you will be writing your mains exam, by that particular time such information would have become redundant, because a lot of new things might be coming. Even Oxford drug might get the entire approval. So till then the news will not be important. So please see it from this particular timestamp. So guys, now that's it. We'll move to the next news. Now friends, this particular article talks about, or we can say it as, the problem of the Chinese dilemma. So guys, if you remember, just a few days back, government has banned 59 apps. Okay, moreover, even the FDI policy of India has been amended so that the strategic takeover, or the opportunistic takeovers from China might not come into India. But at the same time, there is a problem. The problem is that decoupling that government is trying to do from China, is that decoupling possible? Even USA trying to do decoupling from China, is it possible? So we'll see that particular thing from an example. Now guys, first of all, why countries want to distance from China? In India's case, we have the LAC border disputes. Moreover guys, there is one specific contention, that is national intelligence law, which has been passed by the China in 2017 June. Now there is a clause or article number 7 into this particular law. This article says that all the organizations or citizens in any part of the world, they need to assist the China with respect to the intelligence. What it means? It means simply that Chinese government can ask from them any kind of information, can ask them any kind of data. So therefore, intelligence organizations around the world and even in India had said that the companies are having the links with the Chinese government, the Chinese army, and might be providing them the crucial important information. Now that thing is that, so the TikTok, OI, Tencent, who are the big firms who collect a large number of data, they might be conduits of China into the other countries. Fine. But the thing is that we banned certain apps, but can we go for strategic decoupling? No. There are corporations such as the CTEC, Zindia, Steels, etc., who had made such huge investment into India, into such critical infrastructure sector, manufacturing sector, that we can't simply ask them in a day to pack their bags and to go back. The TikTok was an app, we banned it, no problem was there. But how to ban the manufacturing firms which have established the plants in India? Because even if you will not care for anything, large number of our own people will be losing the employment, from where the tax revenues will be coming. What about Make in India, which we had made Make for the world? Is it clear? So Chinese decoupling is needed, but is it possible? So by this particular reference, by these particular things, you can justify that it will be a very difficult kind of thing to achieve onto the paper. So guys, into the GS paper number 3 as a reference, we can give this particular thing. So guys, that's all. And now let's take the question section. Now guys, please pause the video and try to answer the question. Question number 1 is with respect to the Competition Commission of India. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Now question number 2 is with respect to the Srisailam Dam. Please read these statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 3 is with respect to the OIC. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 4 is with respect to the status of the sex ratio at birth. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Now the mains question for today. So this question is from GS paper number 2 and it is a 10-marker question. Question says, what do you mean by shadow pandemic? How government should respond to solve the challenge of shadow pandemic in India? So that's it guys. Please write it and try to provide some dimensions. So that's all for today. I hope you have liked the discussion. Thank you so much.